So the novel that I've decided to center my presentation on today is Down the Rabbit Hole by Juan Pablo Villalobos. And the question that we will explore is, does the main character Tochtli love his father Yolkot? There were three kind of sub-questions that I used when I analyzed the father-son relationship. First, is Tochtli able to love anyone or anything at all? And if he is able to love, then who does Tochtli choose to love? And lastly, if it isn't love that he feels for his father, then what exactly does Tochtli feel for his father? After considering all the evidence in the novel and analyzing the complex relationship that Tochtli has with his father, I came to the conclusion that no, Tochtli does not love his father, and here are the reasons why. First, Tochtli is completely devoid of empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and feel someone else's emotions. So when they feel pain, you feel pain. When they feel joy, you feel joy. Tochtli is not capable of doing this, and because understanding someone else's emotions is essential to being able to love them, since Tochtli does not have empathy, I think that he is unable to love his father. The first instance in which we see Tochtli lacks empathy is when he throws out the Star Wars figurine. In this scene, the cook and the doctor that work inside of Tochtli's house bring two boys over that are around Tochtli's age because they think it will be good for Tochtli to have friends. One of the boys gives a Star Wars figurine to Tochtli in a gesture of friendship, but immediately after the boys depart, Tochtli throws out the figurine because he sees it as this useless, tattered, secondhand item. He doesn't understand the meaning that the boy had when he gave it to him, that it was this effort to be friends. And so, because Tochtli doesn't have that understanding, we can say that he lacks empathy, and without that, he's not capable of loving his father. Tochtli's detachment from death also shows that he lacks this kind of emotion. He doesn't get the pain and feelings of loss that come with death that the average person like you and me would feel about death. So this little boy is aware that his father is murdering people in their home and feeding these corpses to the tigers, but his only comment on this is that the tigers are well fed. He doesn't recognize that people are dying. So Tochtli also has this morbid interest in certain school subjects, which shows his disconnect from death. He is fascinated by the guillotine because it causes heads to be cut off cleanly, and he thinks that the conquest of Mexico is a fun topic, despite the fact that it involved mass genocide. Lastly, when Tochtli sees death on TV, he doesn't seem to recognize that people lost their lives, that families lost loved ones. He instead hyper-focuses on the containers in which the dead came in, like that decapitated heads came in crates, liquor crates to be specific, and human remains came in plastic bags. So someone who is lacking in this depth of emotion, they would not be able to love someone. Along with his empathy, his lack of empathy, we can see that Tochtli is not able to love through his relationship with Mizatsin, who was his tutor. So Mizatsin actually spent the most amount of time with Tochtli, maybe even more than Tochtli's father spent with him. We can see that on days like weekends that Mizatsin doesn't come to tutor, that Tochtli actually misses him. And Mizatsin clearly loves Tochtli. When Mizatsin leaves and exposes Tochtli's father's drug business, that Tochtli's dad is a cocaine dealer, Mizatsin leaves Tochtli out of the article because he wants to protect him from any consequences that his dad will face from running this drug business. And the book even takes you down this road that perhaps Tochtli shares a similar sentiment, at least respect for Mizatsen, because Tochtli wears the samurai outfits that Mizatsen speaks of, and he likes samurai movies like Mizatsen. But then we see Tochtli's reaction to Mizatsen going to prison for exposing the drug business of his father. And we know that Tochtli has no love for Mizatsen at all. He characterizes Mizatsen as a pathetic traitor, which shows that he's not sad about Mizatsen's fate. Tochtli is not able to love Mizatsen, who did the most for him, so how can he love his father, who did far less? Now, I think Tochtli wasn't able to love Mizatsen. He just doesn't have that emotional capacity, but some people could say that Tochtli reacted this way because Mizatsen betrayed his father. So out of loyalty and love for his father, Tochtli had no love for Mizatsen. But I don't think this is true because Tochtli did not have love for his father. And I'm going to go into some of the sentiments that he did have for his father. Tochtli did not love his father, he just liked that his father gave him everything and let him do anything that he wanted. First, we can see the parallels in the way that Yoko treats the governor and his son. When the governor eats dinner in Yoko's home, Yoko bribes him so that he can continue to run his cocaine business. Similarly, Yoko bribes his son so that he continues to behave well for him. And when Tochtli becomes a mute, Yoko showers him with gifts such as a PlayStation, pet turtles, so this way Tochtli begins to talk again. But I think that Tochtli doesn't love his father, he just likes getting things that he wants. Tochtli also likes being able to do what he wants. When he wants the Liberian pygmy hippos, his father takes him to Liberia. And Tochtli is able to get away with killing the lovebird. His father does not punish him, he only pursues his self-interest, which is recovering the gun that Tochtli used to kill the bird. So it isn't love that Tochtli has for his father, he just likes the freedom to do what he wants. Those are all the reasons that I think Tochtli doesn't love his father, but I'm not blind to the evidence that Tochtli might love his father. I will now speak to those reasons, the rebuttal, so to speak, for my own reasons. So you might think that Tochtli loves his father because he was so hurt when his father lied to him. We can see the pain that Tochtli felt because he went to the extreme lengths of becoming a mute to punish his father. Since he felt this strong emotion, you might begin to believe that he was able to love his father. But trust is a different emotion than love. Trust is a little bit more superficial and involves less sacrifice. So I think that the pain that Tochtli felt stemmed from him trusting Yoko but not necessarily loving him, which is not something that Tochtli is capable of doing. Next, you may rebut that Tochtli does have empathy because of his reaction to the killing of the hippos. But if Tochtli felt the pain of the hippos, then it does not make sense that he would not feel any pain when it came to shooting, actually being the one to murder the lovebird. Since he did not feel sad when he shot the lovebird, I think Tochtli did not empathize with the hippos either. He may have grown attached to them because he wanted them so badly for a zoo, and that is the reason he cried and wet himself, but not for the pain that they experienced. Maybe it was also the shock of just seeing such a brutal way of dying, but I don't think that he felt their emotions or even understood, the physical pain that the hippos went through when they died, because he's devoid of empathy. Now, the last point you may counter my argument with is that Tochtli loves his father because he forgave him at the end of the novel. The coronation and the party for the dead stuffed hippos signifies Tochtli's forgiveness, but the forgiveness came on the heels of receiving the stuffed Liberian pygmy hippos. So perhaps it isn't love that made Tochtli forgive, but it was the hippos. So does Tochtli like his father? Yes, because he gives him everything and lets him do anything that he wants to do. But does he love his father? No, because Tokley does not have the emotional capacity to love anybody. And the biggest evidence is that he didn't have a emotional connection to his tutor, who spent the most amount of time with him and probably cared about him the most.